welcome to the Everyday Millionaire Show with Ryan Greenberg and Nick Kalfas.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Everyday Millionaire Show. We're here doing another internal podcast catch up. I actually tried to get a last minute guest today, but they couldn't come. We'll dig into getting some more guests. I think we were having trouble just finding good guests. You know, I like doing them locally. Yeah. I hate the Zoom podcast, so apologize for not getting more content out. But
well, if you think you'll be a good guest, reach out to one of us and we can get you on.
Yeah, for sure. We need to start booking more local guests, and maybe we'll do a little bit of travel and try to get some cool guests like we did a couple years ago. But yeah, so for now, we talk about what the three of us are doing. Chase and I are going in on some new construction stuff, so we'll touch on that today. Nick, what do you got going on?
I am continuously stabilizing the portfolio, trying to, put people in place to kind of leverage my time more. And I feel like I'm doing that. It's just doing it, a little bit slower than I'd like.
When you say stabilizing, what do you mean, like, specifically, so people can understand?
Stabilizing, just, as soon as a tenant moves out of a property, making sure that the contractor is there and getting a list of what needs to be done, or myself going there and getting that list for the contractor, making sure that it's ready to be turned over, and then remarketing in that property immediately. That way we can get tenants in there instead of waiting. There was times where houses would sit vacant after a move out versus getting in there immediately. And every day that goes by, every week, every month, it was just, losing a whole month mortgage payment that I still have to pay. Versus now I'm really trying to dial in on that and making sure that properties don't sit vacant as long as they used to.
So you're not selling, you're just trying to get them rented?
Yeah, trying to get them rented quicker, trying to get the system dialed in.
Organize the property management.
Exactly. And so I met with Tom Cruise down in Florida, the Section 8 guy, and because I really wanted to start venturing into other states, and he kind of heard what I had going on here in Baltimore, and he's like, why don't you just stay there and just stick to what you know and what you're doing, because you're, growing a sizable portfolio there. I said, yeah, you're right. I should just do that. I said, I do want to eject myself from the property management aspect of it. And he's like, I would just go online and try to find like a college kid or someone who wants to maybe get into real estate, don't necessarily have to have any background in property management. That way that I can form them into the person that I want them to be. Whereas if I hired like a property management company, they may already have their own ways.
So do you know what your gross monthly rent is off the top of your head?
It's about $125.
So essentially, if a normal property manager would be 8%, it's about $10,000 a month that a property manager would cost you. So you just have to find, because it's not just one employee that you need to manage 100 properties.
Yeah.
You need a couple of different people.
Yeah. And where I lack is the in the field stuff. Like, I really don't want to be out there on the streets all the time, like posting notices or just trying to hunt down tenants and checking on properties, doing walkthroughs. Like, I just really don't even have a desire to do that anymore. I don't want to do that. I just want to look on my phone,
but if you
computer, and just find deals.
I mean, if you found somebody that didn't have property management experience, the learning curve that you're going to have to like teach them and be with them, that's like, you're talking about years of experience that you gained that you're just going to pass on to somebody with zero experience. Like, you're going to need to train them for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, it's doable. I think it's doable.
It's definitely doing, but I'm just
gonna
saying,
take a while for sure. What about kind of poaching here? But like, what about taking somebody from, or like hiring somebody that does have experience and maybe offering them salary, even if it's at like $6,000 a month, you're still saving $4,000. And like, your math there was $10,000. That's just the percentage. That's not technicians or any maintenance work, right?
Yeah, but he has to pay that either way.
Yeah.
Well, no, but it'd be
so you're saving
sometimes
money.
Tacked up or marked up.
Right.
If I had a maintenance call and I had a property manager doing it, they might mark it up.
If you have a handyman for, $2,000 or $3,000 a month, you're still saving money in my eyes.
Yeah, but you can't, so I don't think you can count maintenance, because either way you're going to pay that. And typically, yeah, you might pay an extra 10% on maintenance, but it's really like you can't do maintenance, leasing, admin all with one person. Like, that's just for 100 plus units. It's just not, that's not a one person job.
Yeah.
Like, we have at least 4 people and a VA, 5 people managing 200 homes. So it's like 5 people to 2, and you're over 100, and with just you and Lupe.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, certainly half of that 10 grand would be 60 grand a year, right? And that would be like 4%, which isn't bad at all. And I think hiring one person.
But if one person can manage the whole thing.
Well, no, still keeping Lupe, you know, maybe that one person can run out in the field and post notices and do the things like showing properties, meeting tenants to do walkthroughs, walking through properties that tenant move out of and such, and having her, you know, more so behind the computer.
Yeah, I mean, I probably have some people on my team that would help you out in a pinch like that.
Then
doing some
how?
of those things.
So then, but you still have to pay her too.
Yeah.
So you're almost at a break even, is what I'm saying. You're almost damn near at a break even if you had hired one other person or just passed it on to the property management company.
Oh, you mean in that sense? Yeah. But then I have more of a grip on what's going on. I don't have to like micromanage another property management company, and I don't have to worry about how big they are and if they are managing my properties the way that I want them to be managed.
Yeah, no, it's definitely true. I've learned through building our property management company that it's just such an economies of scale issue, because once you get to like a certain amount of units, then you need a whole nother person. Mm-hmm. But like, if let's just say for every 100 units you need 3 people, if you get another 50 units, you really do need another person, but you can't like really afford it yet, because you'd really need to get another 100 units to fully, you know, onboard another full-time employee. So it's hard to grow the property management company because you constantly hit these ceilings of like you're maxed out with labor.
Yeah, like you're maxing out what they have there, but you don't have quite enough in the to hire another one full-time.
So from like a business owner's perspective, you're either looking at it like, shit, I'm way overstaffed, I'm paying more than I should be, or I'm understaffed and my people hate me because they're so friggin' busy managing way too many units.
Yeah, no, I remember we talked about this before, and I think someone else that maybe we had on as a guest mentioned it. Like once you get up to like hundreds and then thousands, it's like there's a number where you're like losing money until you get to another number, and then you start making money again as a property management company.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's a tough. It's a tough business to grow because of that reason exactly.
Sorry, I apologize. I had to take a call from the veterinarian. My dog is in the hospital right now.
Not good.
Not good.
Praying for Nella.
So going back, did you guys come to a solution where it's like...
Yeah, he's going to hire me, pay me 10%.
Yeah. I'm going to take Ryan from his company. And
there you go. Why don't you just sell him the company?
It's not a bad idea. You want another couple hundred units? I think it's hard because it's a different business too. Like you're just doing it for yourself. So it does take less time and effort for you to just do it for yourself, because you don't have to process the owner payments and all that stuff that we have to do.
Yeah, there's definitely a couple steps that I don't have to do because I'm doing it for myself versus, like you mentioned, if I was doing it for others.
Yeah. And then for us, like it's kind of like being a realtor. You have that like fiduciary duty to somebody else. If you fuck it up, it's just your money.
Yeah.
If I fuck it up, it's somebody else's money. So it's a little bit more.
Yeah, no, and I know it's got to be challenging, like having a big property management company and just having several different owners, and those owners like, hey, like hounding you and for properties being vacant and all this and that, and you got so much going on also, and it's tough. And I know you always mention this, like it's the worst because like the owners are mad at you and the tenants are mad at you.
Yeah,
so it's like
everybody's always mad at you. You're just a big punching bag, basically. But you know, the other side of the coin is like when you own a portfolio like we do, it's hard to pass that along to somebody else. And I didn't want to scale as fast as you scaled in the, you know, owning of properties. I'm at a fraction of what you have. So it didn't make sense for me to just hire people to manage my 24 units or whatever. We really needed to get other management contracts in order to actually, you know, have people be able to afford to pay people to manage our shit. So yeah, that's a constant struggle and challenge is the property management business. But at the end of the day, we've stopped scaling it to a point where we know that we can take on like probably another 10, 15, 20 units maybe. And then we'd have to choose to hire somebody. Another person. And I kind of keep a good pulse on that because the last thing I want is people like property management can be such a tough business to work for because of the negativity. Like there's always somebody yelling at you from either side of the, either side, the owners or the tenants. So I want to make sure that my employees are happy, because if they leave, then we're screwed. Yeah. We're in big trouble. All right. What do you want to talk about next? Oh, you want to talk about our deals that we're doing?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton. I think we're leaning into new builds pretty heavy, whether it's build to rent or build to sell. Just picked up a lot in Glen Burnie. Obviously, we had the lot in Annapolis that we finally broke ground on. Moved the pavement. We had a big sidewalk that we had to move. And then drywall is going in this week.
Yeah, he's starting it this week. He'll be done next week.
Sweet. So that one's moving along. I think timeline for the Glen Burnie lot we talked about was sometime September next year.
Yeah,
if everything goes online.
That's the one thing. It's hard to, like with flips, you're like, 3 months or 5 months, then whatever to sell. With new builds, it's a lot of like hurry up and wait. Mm-hmm. You got to submit the grading. I sent Chase like a whole list of things that I was going over with the developer that I work with to buy some of these lots. And there's just like step after step, and one step might take 3 days for the county to answer, and then might take a week. Mm-hmm. And then you got to wait, and then so it's very sequential. There's less like variables, I guess, is the good part about it. Like we're going to build 2 identical houses. So we're going to know exactly what lumber to order. We're going to know exactly what fixtures to order. We're building the same exact house.
Like right next to each other?
No, not next to each other.
Okay.
One's in Annapolis, one's in Glen Burnie.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you look at the neighborhood and see how the houses are built before you decide what to build?
I mean, I think that's the cool part about new construction is a lot of it's just builder grade, right?
But a lot of it's too, like we were talking about this the other day when we were sitting out in the conference room. It's like you have to build to the lot, because every lot has its own setbacks. So like if it's a 60-foot lot, you might only be able to build a 20 or 30-foot house. And then how deep it is, you might have to be 20 feet off the front, 20 feet off the back. There's all these different setbacks. So you basically, you have the lot, and then the county determines the box inside the lot that you could build on. Mm-hmm. And then you pick what size, what box and stuff you want to build, essentially with the floor plan and all that stuff. But that's like the first part, is figuring out how big can you build, and if it makes sense to build that big. Like we're talking about, maxing out the square footage, but the comps are only like 2,200, 2,300 square feet. So that's what we're going to build. We're going to build close to what the comps are.
Mm-hmm. 1 or 2 car garage, like those things matter for sure. The area definitely matters. And I don't want to say we don't like look at the finishes. You definitely do, right? And like, for example, the Annapolis lot, there's a big con, right? There's the public park and right behind the house. So I think you have to make that house a little nicer to offset, just kind of like you do in the city in certain areas. You have to make the house appealing enough for people to overlook some of the other cons. And then in Glen Burnie, there's new builds all around. So you're thinking about, okay, well, this buyer could comparison shop. Do they want a townhouse for this price, or would they take our single build with no HOA at this price? And then you're kind of looking at the monthly affordability too. So those are some things, because new builders are offering, like down the street, I think it's Richmond American is offering 3.99 rate locked for FHA and VA on a $600,000-$700,000 house.
And that's because they're lending the money?
Yeah, they buy the money in bulk, and so they get a huge discount on the rate options and the terms. So it's a fixed rate, which is good. A lot of the builders like Lennar down the street from me is offering a 2-3-1, but that's an ARM. It's a 7-year ARM. So after 7 years, it jumps.
Yeah, or goes down.
Or goes down, depending, right?
Yeah.
Which that's not terrible financing. I mean, we've talked. I'm heavy on ARMs right now, and I've never been heavy on ARMs, but learning more about them and where the market is and the rates are going, I think ARMs make sense for a lot of people.
I think like 2 years ago, it probably made the most sense when rates were like at the top at 8%.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I still think if you can save a point or 3/4 of a point by doing an ARM, I think even if it's 5 years, I feel like you'll see enough cycle you won't like lose too much. Hopefully, hopefully they don't jack or double the rates. But I feel like we're at a point where they're not hopefully going to put it up to 12% in 5 years.
Yeah.
So like ARMs do now make sense, where before I was totally against them when I could lock in 30-year mortgages. Now it's like I don't even want a 30-year mortgage.
Yeah.
And I don't want a prepayment penalty either.
Yeah. Well, it's like the prepayment penalties, it seems like they came out of the woodworks when interest rates started going up. I didn't really see too much of the prepayment penalties when interest rates were like 4% for like investor loans, DSCR loans. But then as soon as they started creeping up to 6%, it's like, let me lock you into that 5-year prepayment penalty just in case that rate comes down. You can't refinance out unless you're going to pay me.
That's the one thing I try to negotiate is the 5 years down to 3 years. Because 5 years is a long time to be locked into an 8% rate.
Yeah, for sure.
Aren't we locked in 5 years on Benfield?
Yeah.
That sucks.
That's just what that was. It was either that or it jumped. You know, like it was 6 one to half dozen the other, whatever that saying is. But yeah, we have a $700 and something thousand loan on that duplex at like 8%.
Yeah.
And 5-year prepayment penalty. But in 5 years, if we can lower it by 2 points, it's probably worth it.
It'll be cash flowing for sure.
Yeah. Right now it costs like 30 grand.
Is it descending? Like maybe year 4, it's just 1% buyout of it?
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah, it's a 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So even in year 4, it might be
makes
low
sense
enough
to just pay the 1%. Yeah.
Right.
Actually, well, yeah, that loan is kind of high, right?
The one thing to go back to the new builds too, for anybody that's like trying to get into it, like flippers that are trying to get into it, it is it's a lot more like dealing with the county, knowing the inspectors and how to get things kind of like pushed from one stage to another. Because you can spend, and then with that, because it takes so much longer, you have to get creative with the financing. You can't just pull, a $400,000 hard money loan to buy the lot. The lots that we're buying are like 75, 80 grand, 90 grand max. We really are trying to either sell or finance them or pay them in cash and wait to get our hard money loan until we're ready to actually build. So then we're not paying interest. You could be paying interest on something for 6 months before you can even put a shovel in the ground.
Yeah. And aren't there some companies that you don't have to pay interest until you start pulling the construction?
Well, that's how we do it. So like Renovo is you don't pay until you use it. So what we've been doing is either buying the lots in cash, or like we're doing with this Azalea one, most likely, buying it in cash, and then when it's ready for construction, bring in Renovo, give them first lien on the land, and then they'll start lending. So let's just say your foundation and site work is $50,000. You do that, and then they'll start the draw process.
That's not bad. That way you're not sitting on all of that interest payments,
right?
And you're not able to build
because it'll kill you. That's the one thing. Like the interest will kill you, the hard money. So make sure your hard money lenders are doing that. Like if you're paying on the full amount, I feel like that's something of the past. A lot of people are getting hard money still and paying on the full amount, including the construction escrow. That's no longer a thing.
But you're referring to just strictly new builds, right?
No, I'm talking about every hard money loan. Should be paid. Should be charged based on how much you owe at that time. Yeah, that's how it should be. Because if like the lenders are essentially making money off that escrowed money. So no, the two lenders that we've worked with recently, both Pimlico and Renovo, do it that way.
I think Kiavi does it that way as well.
Yeah, I've done work for somebody that had them, but I didn't deal with them. But Renovo and Pimlico definitely only charge you of what you pull.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So, yeah.
I did have some questions I posted when I posted the architect's drawing the other day. This one was from Facebook. How do you find the land and navigate that process?
So that's hard, and it's hard to explain. My answer to that is sometimes we don't. Like we've gotten a lot from developers. So like developers will find lots of land that could be subdivided and built on, and they do everything side to side. They call it like side to side, right? So they're figuring out the land boundaries, getting the land prepped as far as boundary surveys and stuff like that go. And then the builder comes in and goes vertical, up and down. So to truly find lots, there's a couple different strategies, I guess. You can do one strategy that we've taught some of your team is you find houses that have additional lots attached to it. And you can use, our county has its own GIS map that's interactive that you can actually go and find and then see the lots. There's certain neighborhoods that are better than others because they're subdivided better.
And that's the key part too, right? Because like you might have a big lot attached to your house, but it's not subdivided from the house.
Right.
And so what we're talking about is these houses actually have like 8 subdivided lots on them already, and that the one house sits on maybe 4, and then there's 4 over here that are unused, untapped, and like you could buy that house effectively, renovate that house and sell the lot and do the developer. That's one strategy. So,
and we're working with somebody, and he's been a great help to us, just like learning the county, because we've not really built too many in this county. So Kyle Squires, he's an appraiser, so he's probably appraised some of your units. He does a lot of appraisals. Chessie Homes. He's been doing a lot of the development part and then passing us the lots when they're ready to build. The one recently that we bought, I don't know, I guess they just emailed both of Chase and I, and we negotiated with this other guy, but that needs to be fully developed. So we need to get like grading permits, make sure that we have a lot survey, topographic map to figure out where the sewer pipe can run to get it connected to the public utilities. So there's a lot of steps in the beginning, but I will say once you get the beginning work done, the building of it's so much easier than renovation. It's just
like cleaner, right?
It's cleaner. The trades are all cheaper. Everybody's cheaper because you're working with a clean slate. There should be no like variables. Building from the time that you can like put the foundation down to finish is way easier than like doing a full gut renovation in the city. It's a lot of different subcontractors and just kind of organizing with people, but it's way easier. The floors are level. Everything's just right.
When you do a new build, as far as like HVAC and plumbing, is that on a drawing or do they come in and they're together and say, look, I'm going to run my stuff here? So basically the same thing as like a renovation.
Good architects, even I've had great architects, they never put the HVAC ducts or where that's going. So typically it's something that we would design like on site after we frame it. If you pay for MEP plans, you can pay somebody to do it. But ultimately what we just, for ductwork and stuff, we just do it when we have it framed. We do a trades walkthrough with all the trades. We tell them this is where we've designated for the HVAC closet, whether it's in the basement, the attic, whatever. We were talking through this the other day, like where we're going to put the HVAC unit. And we designate a closet for it based on where we think it should be in the house, close to the center of the house. And then we, just like you would do in a full gut that you're adding ductwork to, just figuring out where the ductwork goes. Yeah.
No, I asked that because there's always times where you're running issues with HVAC and plumbers, and sometimes they're not on the same page with where they're running their stuff. And I didn't know if that was including in like a new build drawing or if you had to still go through that same potential. Yeah, still go through all that, all those same kind of subcontractor headaches. But really, it's going to be great after we finish the first one completely, because we're going to probably use the same subs and the same everything. So they should all know by the second one, this is what we're doing. Like, that's why we were talking about changing the floor plan slightly to accommodate this lot a little bit differently, but it just made a lot more sense just to redo what you just did, what we've already done. That's what I do all the time with the townhouses, like middle group townhouses, the same layout consistently. So it's like the trades know exactly where everything has to go. And it's a lot easier to do the same thing that they just did versus trying to, do something new. Yeah.
That's something I think is super important in business in general. Is, again, that goes back to like not investing out of state and like knowing your area, knowing exactly your prices and everything like that. Brian Valdivia. How do you say his last name? Valdivia. There you go.
He is a sponsor of the next event.
There you go.
November 13th.
Beltway. So I like he only buy, I don't know if he only buys in Dundalk, but a lot of his houses are in Dundalk, right? And like I think he knows his prices to the T, exactly what to pay, exactly there. So like I think that's really cool about the new construction, but also the process is fun. It is obviously time consuming, takes forever. Yeah. So it teaches you some patience. But it does seem like it's going to be fun. We just got sent another lot in Glen Burnie too.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I didn't read the email yet from the same dude, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. That's a R5. So
Yeah, that's the other thing is know your zoning. If you're doing this and you're looking at these houses, know what zoning means what. So in your county, figure out what R5 mean, what R1 means, what these different zoning things mean. So then when you're looking at the lots, you're not just calling your friend saying, "Can we build on this? Can we build on?" Because that's what all my friends do. They just say, or anybody that's on the sales team or anything, they're just sending us random lots. Can you build on this? And there's just everything is public record. You can find it all out, online. But figure out the zoning and what that zoning means before even planning to try to build anything.
Yeah, I think for me that would probably be what would be the most difficult aspect of new construction would be the back end paperwork, like getting everything.
Yeah, without a computer, it would be very hard.
The counties and the cities and the different counties. Like I know Baltimore City's permits office like the back of my hand, but anywhere else, it's like, I wouldn't know where to start. I don't know how the process is versus what I already know with Baltimore City process as far as their permits.
Yeah, and that's another reason why I am now trying to focus mainly in Anne Arundel County. With the builds, with the construction company. Like we just retained, and we could talk about this too, a marketing agency for the construction company. And we picked like 5 zip codes maybe, max. And it's like basically from like here down to Annapolis to like Millersville where I live, and that's it.
Wow,
like
you didn't choose Glen Burnie?
Sorry, Chase.
That's crazy.
We did not choose Glen Burnie. No offense to anybody from Glen Burnie, but we wanted to really niche down. Our office is here.
Don't you live in Glen Burnie?
No, Nick, I don't live in Glen Burnie.
No, he lives in the redheaded stepchild of Severna Parks.
Yes, I live in Millersville, Severna Park Schools. But we want to really, really focus in because like driving from place to place, like we're doing a job in Gaithersburg right now. That's a pain in the ass to drive to. It's an hour plus each way. So my project manager who has to check in these higher end, especially like design build things, one of us higher level thinkers or higher level managers need to be on site every single day. So if you're within 10 miles of every project, you can get to a lot more work than if you're 40 whatever Gaithersburg. It's got to be at least 45 something miles away. So yeah, I think niching down, like what I guess this all ties back to you like talking about niching down. I think niching down to a style that you're building, style that you're investing, whatever, is the way. When you get too busy, you lack quality. That's what I've found.
Or you have to spend hours on hours learning a new area, a new, like this development stuff is going to take me some time to learn, right? So like, that's why I was just like, okay, if I start doing this new build stuff, we'll just continue to do that. And then I'll just train my team to do that. And then we can really niche down on new builds and help in those communities.
Especially, like in Anne Arundel County. You're wherever because you're heavy in like Pigtown, you have some in Dundalk. I feel like trying to go buy something in Ohio or Florida would just be a huge time suck for you. For something that like wouldn't really, like, how much more of a benefit is it going to be to get something in Florida or something? It just, I think it really niche, like they say, riches and niches. And I was always like the ADD shiny object syndrome guy that wanted to start this business. And I still get that way, but I feel like more recently, especially because I've been spending an exorbitant amount of money on marketing and HR department and all these things. I just want to niche down and just do what we're doing really well.
Yeah. No, that's the thing. I feel like a lot of just business in general, like you can't be doing 10 different things, 10 different businesses. You have to really narrow it down to what you really want to do.
Yeah, we talked about that before this, about somebody else that's on your team that's just trying to do too many things. I think you're always going to sacrifice if you try to do more than one or two things really well.
I heard something today. I was actually listening to a YouTube video this morning. He said, basically, if you're trying to speak to everybody, you're speaking to nobody. So speak to your target audience, right?
Yeah.
It was a branding marketing video, but I'm super big on that as well, and like hyper focusing on your target avatar, especially as an agent and a realtor, because that's the trap we fall into a lot of times, is like, oh, well, I don't want to cut out the investor because I want to focus on waterfront properties now. Like, no, you can still do the investor stuff, but if your target audience is waterfront properties, well, you need to go show that lifestyle to that target front audience, and you need to be in their sphere. If not, you're going to try to speak to everybody. It's just, you're not going to get anywhere. Mm-hmm. So I think it is super important to niche down. But I sent this to my team as well today, is like, a lot of times we get distracted by those shiny objects, and you just sometimes have to sit back, reflect on what you've been doing and refocus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At earlier on for me, it was kind of like I was doing multiple things because I didn't know what I wanted to niche down on. So it's, I guess, in a way it's okay, but you don't want to do that for too long. You really want to narrow it down. Like, what am I best at? What I'm passionate about doing, and just do that.
Yeah, and finding the thing that you're good at within your business and really just doing that, and hopefully your business in a place where you can afford to pay people to do the rest of the stuff. Mm-hmm. The stuff that you're not good at, you have to delegate it. You can't, and you have to hire before you need, which is another problem. Like, we were talking about this the other day. It's like scary to hire that next person, especially if you want somebody like higher level, because all you see is like, oh, this person's going to cost me $100,000 a year. But if they can manage, like I was explaining this to Jet the other day, if you focus on all of the labor, like the people that are doing the painting, the framing and all that stuff, one painter can only paint one house at a time. Mm-hmm. He can't split himself into two. But one good project manager can manage 5 different paint crews at 5 different properties. Mm-hmm. So finding those higher level people, hiring them before you need them, and building like a system around them, I think that's a good place to be. Yeah. A good place to work towards.
So I did submit a couple cash offers this week. Lost out on some of those. One in Arnold. I think we offered like $255 on it. It was a 3-bedroom, like kind of a Cape Cod style house. The ceilings, like you walked upstairs, you were hitting your head on the ceilings in there. So it was like, it's a 1-bathroom. It was a very odd house. Full basement, had a big garage, 2-car garage. We submitted an offer, I think, $255, and then I gave him 3 options. So if you're an agent or kind of an agent investor out there, this is kind of our pitch on our team, is like, hey, we can give you 3 options. And so the 3 options was 1, a cash offer, 2, what we think we can list it as is, and then the third one is like, we kind of partner with you, kind of the novation-style approach. And so then we say, hey, we'll bring the construction, we'll bring the cost, we'll front that. This is going to be your guaranteed price, and this is what you could expect a net, and you give them a net sheet. So anyways, to make a long story short on that one, apparently he got an offer at like $350. They ended up listing it at like $375. So it's just curious it's interesting to see what like people are paying, and continue to, in my eyes, overpay. And
that was an as-is offer, $350?
Yeah.
You said you offered $255 and someone else offered $95,000 more. That's crazy.
Yeah. And like, I thought the ARV was around like maybe $499, maybe, But
you also have to be careful with, when you see an offer like that, that may be a homeowner who wants to buy the house and live in it. So they're not really factoring in the investment
that
aspect of it.
Cash offer that you dragged me to the other day, that was the same situation. That was a reverse mortgage where they owed $80,000 more than what my maximum bid was going to be. Right. Just in the mortgage alone.
Yeah. And I think that'll end up maybe being a short sale unless somebody that wants to live in there and go in and do work to it buys it. And we, kind of told her, hey, you should probably look at, putting it on market. And she was like, I don't want to put it on market just because of the status of it. But, at the end of the day, like, sometimes that's what you got to do. And it's just, there's another one in Annapolis. Sean had, I think his boss ended up buying it, but he was paying him like $550, and the ARV on it was like maybe $750, maybe. And it needed at least $150 to $200K worth of work. So it's just like, it's crazy to see what people are still paying for some of these properties.
That's one thing. Since we haven't really been flipping houses, I've been making my money building and construction and stuff. So I don't really know what the flip world is doing right now, but I got to imagine that these flippers are losing money left and right on these deals.
I have one right now. It's losing probably $80,000 in Glen Burnie on a deal that she bought, and I'm actually going to show her a house down in Chevy Chase. Purchase price is like $999. She's gonna offer like $850 on it. Apparently, there's a builder that already has an offer on it with a 7-day feasibility. Down there is so weird because they'll buy these like decent houses that just need maybe $100,000 to $120,000 worth of work. They'll tear them down and just build new construction there and sell it for like 1.8, 2 mil. So I don't know exactly where we're competing price wise, but I'm about to go show her that house, and I have thinking in my head like, and I told her this up
She's
front.
gonna flip it.
She's gonna try to flip it, and I told her up front. I was like, listen, the ARV is probably around like 1.3, and that's conservative, but you need to be conservative in this market. And she was like, Chase, we can't go any higher on the ARV. I was like, listen, I can go as high as you want.
Yeah,
and
just
this is
pick
where
one.
this is
$5 million.
This is that's where people get in trouble, right? Like they're just like they just put a number because that they want to make the deal work. And me and Nick talked about this before the podcast. You can't do that. You can't get emotional about the deal to where you're so sucked in that you're trying to make it work.
Yeah, I mean, I would be scared because that was her first deal, the $300,000, and she lost $80,000, and then going up to 3 times that at $1 million price point. That's a little risky.
Yeah,
a lot risky.
Big risk. Yeah,
a lot risky.
But I mean, people want to do it. Who am I to tell them?
I would just love to see some statistics on all these people. Like I see people that are just getting into the rental game, and God bless them. Like I'm glad people are still hustling, but like I see people doing these full gut renovations for refi and rent. And I'm like, there's just no room. It just doesn't, like, there's no money to be made in a lot of these deals. And people are still buying them. And I wonder if it's more to just keep their machine moving or because they think they're doing something and making some sort of headway. But for you to risk a couple $100,000 to make 20 on a flip or to make $200 a month gross cash flow, I just can't make those things make sense in my head.
Yeah, no, it's certainly gotten difficult over the last couple of years with the higher interest rates and the market tightening up.
Yeah.
People who are flipping houses that are sitting longer. I mean, I'm flipping a few right now, and I kind of transitioned into flipping a little bit more than I was buying and holding just because of the higher interest rates and the market. And, the price I was getting properties for didn't make sense now to hold them as rentals because I wouldn't cash flow, but I would still be able to make a profit if I sold them. So,
and for you too, it's a little different because you control the contracting piece of it. You're the contractor, right? So, the typical flipper might be working as a banker or whatever, a realtor or something else, and they're not actively managing the crews of construction. So they're paying like an upcharge for somebody, a contractor, to do it. Not this contractor. I'm not doing any more investor work.
Yeah, and
I've sworn off of that.
And not only that, they're paying for the contractor, the realtor fees. I mean, I still pay 2.5% for a buyer, but
builder's risk is expensive now.
Yeah, that
everything's expensive. So, before I forget, I did like kind of pitch it before, but we have our next meetup on November 13th at 6 to 9, 9515 Deerco Road in Timonium, hosted by Albers and Associates and Mid-Atlantic Title. And of course the Everyday Millionaire Show. So make sure that you guys are there. Sponsors, hit me up. We're still taking on more sponsors. All free food, free drinks. What else we got? What else people should know about it?
It's a great networking event. I think this time we're going to do something a little bit different. I think we should, when you get up there and talk on the microphone, I think we should have the room circulate a little bit because a lot of people have mentioned that they'll come and they're new to real estate and they feel like everyone's in their own group. So I think it'd be a great idea to kind of like, get up there and say, hey, look, for the next 5 minutes, I want you guys to go around the room and meet someone that you don't know yet. That way, if the people there who are newer, they feel comfortable about coming and, feel comfortable about coming to future events as well.
Yeah, one thing I want to ask the venue too, and I'll text Mike about this, is can we get speakers to be in the back of the room too? So then everybody can kind of hear instead of just in the front. But yeah, it's a great opportunity to come and network and meet people in the industry. We always have some great people that come out and support and sponsor. So far, I'll just give a shout out to all the people that have sponsored so far. I don't want to forget anybody, but we have Studio A Staging. They confirmed Beltway Lending, current cabinetry. Toss It, Mr. Perry. Diligent Windows, Albers and Associates and Mid-Atlantic Title, obviously. And Graciously P Home Remodeling. No.
Thank you. Thank you.
But thank you for all those sponsors that have already. Oh, and Keeping It Clean Cleaning is a new sponsor that we have. He's been to so many of our events, and he always asks about sponsoring, and he finally sponsored. So thank you to Keeping It Clean. All right, Nick, you have anything else before? I know you have to get to pick up your daughter.
Nope, I think that's it.
Chase?
I'm good.
We're good. All right. Till next time, we promise we will be doing more content coming up. I want to do some like more vlogging video stuff too, of the stuff that we're doing, stuff that we're building. So that's coming down the pipeline eventually.
Cool.
All right, guys. Until next time.